The Rotobrush tool allows you to select a person or object and create a matte to isolate it from the background. It's much easier than manually drawing a mask with the pen tool. You will need to adjust it in most cases and tidy up the edges, but it makes things a lot easier. I will provide you with a simple video to use with these tutorials. To make your own, remember to control the image and background to make it more successful. Even lighting and strong contrast works the best. Avoid using the same colors in the foreground and the background or confusing noise and details. If something changes or moves very fast, you will have a lot of editing to do. So make sure that you've got After Effects started. And here I've got mine already open. So open up your Project 3 tutorials. And this is a sort of a test case that I was doing, so I'll let you see what that looks like once you've done it. You can see you make it, you can put any kind of effect on it you want to make it look interesting with your basic background, but you can put yourself into one of the paintings. So that's what I thought would be fun to do. You don't have to, but you can. I'm going to create a new comp, and I'm going to call it my last name, my first initial, Rotobrush. Make sure that it is HDV HDTV 720 29.97. Make sure that it is 5 seconds long and say OK. Now I want to import the images that I have. So the images that you need to use will be found on the Rotobrush tool tutorial page, which is accessible from the Canvas page for week 10. The Rotobrush tutorial, and I have all the words here, you can read it. It's all the stuff I'm going to tell you while we're doing the tutorial. Download the provided files zip. I already have it because I made the files and I zipped them, so I've got it down here already. I'm going to say unzip these, so double click on it, and then you'll have these files in the folder. Now we want to go to our After Effects file. We want to import the files. So you've got 2 files to import. You've got the video file, and I put them into the right folders. So I've got my video file in the video folder, and I'm going to import that. And I've got the Alfalfa Saint-Denis, which I already imported from my JPEGs, but you would go to your whatever folder you've got yours in. So mine is right here. And now I can drag them down so that they appear in the composition. But before I drag down the rattan screen, I want to interpret the footage. So take it down to the Interpret Footage icon at the lower left of the project window. Or you can right-click on it and go to Interpret Footage, Main. When you take a video with your phone, it doesn't automatically have a frame rate that we would want. It uses whatever frame rate it feels works for the lighting conditions. So this one is 30.022, and this will actually interfere with the effect. So we want to change that to 29.97 frames per second. Now we can drag it down in here. Now I'm going to make this fit, so I'm going to scale it so I get more of the body. So I'm going to change it to 60% size, and more of it fits. And I'm going to move it up a little and down a little to see where I want. I don't want the watch band to show, so I'll pull it down a little bit. I'm going to say I want it about there. You don't have to scale it if you don't want to, but just figure out. Okay. I'm going to select my Rotobrush tool, and you see the Rotobrush tool is this picture of a running guy with a paintbrush on it. So we'll select the Rotobrush tool, and then to open it in the layer palette, you double click on the image. And there it is. So now we can go ahead, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in and zoom out. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw in the figure. Well, I can see as much of the figure as I want. And you don't want to get too close to the edges, but you want to make sure that you have sort of stuff it can use as a way to determine what is the figure, what is the object you want. You see it picks up some of the stuff from the background, so we have to get rid of that, and it missed some of the other stuff. So to add to this image, I want to use my green brush here that we started with and draw around the parts that it missed. And then it picked up some more that we don't want. Make sure it's got the glasses. And now I want to hold down Option or Alt on the windows, and I want to drag across the things that are the wrong stuff to remove it. And just get something that's workable. We don't want to waste too much time here, so we're just getting something that's nice enough. Now you can make the cursor larger or smaller by holding Command and clicking and dragging left or right. And in order to get rid of, let's see, this hard edge around the hair, we want to have a soft edge around the hair. So we're going to come up to the Rotobrush tool, and if you click on the little triangle in the corner, you can get the Refine Edge tool. And the Refine Edge is really nice for hair. Because it gets a nice sort of a adjusted mat that will work really nicely for something like that. Okay, now in order for it to render and to show you what it's doing, you press the space bar. Okay, so I think there's a spot where the hair is just a little bit not fuzzied right there. And where the glasses seem to disappear, so I'm going to let it render again. See where the glasses seem right there. So that's where the glasses might be a problem. Right now we can see them. There, it stops showing the glasses being part of it. So we're going to go ahead and let's add the glasses in. So that's pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to see how that looks. Pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to say that's good enough, and you can check a little bit more by coming down here. These are different kinds of displays. So here you can see it as a matte with an alpha, and here you can see it with a red background instead. And this is the one that we can see, the Rotobrush and Refine Edge. Okay, so when you like it, when it's good enough, then we want to freeze it, and then it will save all of those changes. And you can't change it then unless you unfreeze it, which you would do in the same place. Okay, and now we can close the layer so we can see what it looks like. And you can see here I am sitting in the middle of this field. And looking around. So that's how you use the Rotobrush tool. Now, to play around with it with a little bit with effects, I'm going to Command Save. And now I'm going to duplicate this layer, so I'm going to Command D to duplicate the layer. And the top layer, I'm going to assign an effect to it. And I'm going to assign a noise effect, which is called Add Grain. So I'm going to Add Grain, and it gives you a preview right here. And I'm going to change the size of the grain so that it looks more like the background a little bit. And then I'm going to change the viewing mode to Final Output. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to now add a colorama effect. Double click to apply. And colorama has these output cycles. So you can try different output cycles. Like right now it's on none, but it's doing the entire hue and value. But if we try hue cycle, or if we try moldy, try different ones if you want to, Caribbean. But the one I found that worked for me was an alpha ramp, where it just takes this ramp, alpha ramp, and it's showing through from the colors from behind. In the Add Grain, we can add a little color to that. Let's say we want to saturate it a little bit more. So you can play around to it till you find colors that work, and blend with original, a little bit more with the original. And then I'm going to come back up and make the grain size a little bit stronger. And that has a real interesting look with the background then. So that worked pretty well. You play around with it, see what you think looks good. And it does cut short a little bit, so I'm going to do this as a way to shorten the comp just. So this is the work area. I'd shorten this by dragging this little ribbon a little bit, and then right click and trim comp to work area, and then it won't jump at the end because I cut off the empty part. Okay, stop it and Command Save. Composition, add to Adobe Media Encoder Q. And now we want to make sure that it has the TV broadcast H.264 high quality 720p HD for the preset. And then we can click on the green arrow to render. Whenever you've been using effects in After Effects, it slows down the render time. Okay, I'm going to quit the encoder, make sure my file was saved correctly. Yes. Now I can exit After Effects, and then I can look to see what that looks like. So kind of fun.